Marathon is coming. Bungie's marathon. And yes, this is the part where the internet collectively leans forward like, all right, Bungie, show us what you got. Now, because this isn't just Bungie releasing another shooter, this is Bungie walking directly into the extraction shooter arena where every match is basically this high-stakes garage sale, except the items are illegal, the parking lot's full of snipers and campers, and the exit door only opens if you survive long enough to press a button. Now, the genre is kind of hard to keep players in, as we have seen plenty of developers try and be close, but, you know, no cigar. So today we're asking the real question: can Marathon succeed? Not, can it be stylish? Not, can it have a trailer that makes me feel like I just joined a covert op that I'm definitely unqualified for? You think you're getting SEAL Team 6 and then 3 overweight guys with paintball guns and Red Bulls show up. When I say succeed, I mean succeed in the way that matters. Players show up, players stay, and the game becomes a long-term home instead of a 2-week vacation that you never speak of again. Like Vegas, except you don't need penicillin after you visit. Now, Bungie does have an actual release date for Marathon. It launches on March 5th, 2026 on Steam, PlayStation 5, and the Xbox Series console. It is going to have full cross-play and cross-save, and it's priced at $39.99 for the standard edition. That $40 price point is, well, bold. It's not free to play. It's not $70 either, so it's kind of a special middle ground where gamers become forensic accountants and try to figure out, now this price is better, no, this price is better. They don't really know. Now, Bungie's basically saying, we believe in this game enough to charge for entry. Now let's see if the genre believes in us. Or it could also be PlayStation saying, we want to recoup some money here because, you know, there was some stolen art and things like that and they had to pay some money. So this game is not without its controversy already out the gate. But let's break down what Marathon is, what Bungie's promising, what the genre demands, and what absolutely must go right for this to become a hit instead of a complete and utter disaster. So grab your snacks, hit the like button, and let's enjoy a friendly comments section. Now, Marathon is a team-based PvPvE extraction shooter set on Tau Ceti. Change some letters around and we have Cal Titty. Alright, I'm a child. Anyways, this place is a lost colony with big abandoned corporate dream energy with dark sci-fi ruins, security forces, unpredictable hazards, and that constant sense that you're one bad decision away from being turned into loot for someone else. The job is very simple on paper. We drop in, we scavenge, complete objectives, fight other people, fight AI, and try to extract with everything that we collected. You make it out, you keep your haul, and you grow stronger. You die, and, well, you lose what you risk. Sounds simple, right? Extraction shooters are basically the genre that the game reaches through the screen and whispers, hey, you know that cool thing you found? You'd be ashamed if, you know, and then you hear footsteps and someone murks you from behind and says great things about your mother. And Bungie's twist here is that you're playing as a runner, a cybernetic operative, customizing and building around runner shells and gear. Bungie has confirmed that you can either run solo or in crews, and they've talked publicly about adding solo queue and proximity chat as part of the post-alpha improvements. Hopefully that's available at launch. Because this is important. Proximity chat in extraction shooters, it's not just a feature, it's a social experiment. It's either please don't shoot, I'm friendly, or a man breathing directly into your soul from around the corner. After he kills you, he tells you what a great, pure woman your mom was. There's no in between. But here's the problem. Marathon isn't entering an empty room. It's entering this arena filled with veterans who treat extraction games like a second language. And then you got casuals who are, I'm kind of curious about this game, but really scared to go into it. And then a graveyard of games that launched, got called promising, and then, well, they vanished. The extraction shooter community, it's not hard to impress, but it's very hard to keep. Because these players aren't just judging your gunplay. They judge your, you know, matchmaking fairness, economy balance, stability, anti-cheat, progression pacing, content cadence, and, well, whether your game respects their time or tries to consume it like a live service black hole and makes it their job. Now, the good thing that Bungie has is they know live service ecosystems. That's both a strength and a trust issue, because Bungie can absolutely build a forever game, but the audience is going to at some point ask, forever for who? The players or the cash shop? And that brings us to Bungie's biggest advantage, but also their biggest risk. If Bungie does one thing better than almost anyone else, it's the feel. Bungie shooters tend to have that specific rhythm movement, recoil, audio feedback, and impact where firing a weapon, it feels like you're just wielding and playing an instrument. And Marathon's aesthetic is being positioned as a very intentional identity. Bungie has described it like a greatest hits of 90s futurism neon club energy, bold graphic design that they kind of stole from someone, and that retro future but dangerous tone. You know, maybe add a Home Alone reference, that'd be cool too, just may have to pay them in court, I don't know. Yeah. Low blow, I know. But those things matter, because in 2026, games don't just compete on fun. They compete on, will this look good in a 7-second clip? Can creators thumbnail this? Will TikTok understand it instantly? Marathon looks like it was designed to be recognizable in one frame, and that's how you get players in the door. But keeping them, well, that's where extraction games get brutal and the real challenge begins. Extraction games, they're stressful by design. In a normal shooter, you die and respawn, forget about it 5 seconds later. Sometimes after you're done, yelling at the person who killed you. But in an extraction shooter, you die, and then you get to stare at the screen like you just dropped your phone into the ocean in slow motion, and you can no longer get it back, and it's lost forever. It's not just death, it's the loss that comes with the death. So if Marathon wants to succeed, Bungie has to avoid the genre's most common retention killer: new players who feel like free loot. Because if your first 10 hours in the game are, I spawn, I loot for 20 minutes, I get deleted by a veteran who knows every angle, I lose everything, repeat, your onboarding's not hardcore, it becomes a refund simulator with just additional steps. Bungie must make early progression feel meaningful, even when you fail. There needs to be smart onboarding, protected matchmaking where possible, good starter loadouts, and systems that allow skill matter more than the gear. And that leads to the economy. In extraction shooters, the economy, it's the heart of the game. Loot has to feel valuable, progress has to feel earned, and the loop has to be addictive without becoming a full-time job. Now, economies, they fail in two classic ways. They're too stingy because you're broke, you're under-geared, and the fun kits feel out of reach. The game becomes scrounge simulator, and you end up spending more time managing inventory than actually playing the game. They can be too generous. Nothing feels rare anymore. Everything runs top gear constantly, and the tension, well, it evaporates. Bungie's already messaging part of their plan, because the standard edition includes access to all gameplay updates as the year progresses, explicitly naming things like maps, runner shells, events, etc. That's good, because it suggests that Bungie understands the extraction shooter truth. You can't let the game feel done after 2 weeks. But the bigger economic question is monetization and progression structure, because you have to keep funding this thing to build. Bungie has always done a pretty bad job of, let's build this and then we'll manage kind of these teacups as we go and then build the rest of it later. And it tends to end with burnout and people just having nothing to do. But the key detail that helps is Bungie has indicated rewards passes won't expire and they can be purchased retroactively. This is a move that is clearly aimed at reducing that FOMO pressure. I think that's a smart play, because in 2026, players are getting really tired of they have to log in or they fall behind forever. That was a key thing in Bungie whenever they made it impossible to access old content. You really had no idea what the hell was going on when you tried to jump into the game. So if Marathon makes progression feel fair, flexible, and respectful, it has a real chance to pull in the, I like extraction games, but I also have kind of a life crowd. But there's still that monster lurking under the bed. And let me say it very plainly. For a PvP extraction shooter, anti-cheat is oxygen, because losing your loot to a cheater doesn't feel like losing. It feels like getting robbed in a way that makes you question, why am I even here and what am I doing? And if the game gets a reputation for cheating early, well, that label sticks, along with a lot of the other labels that have come with Marathon up to this point. Same with technical stability and the genre built around risk. You cannot afford server instability, disconnects, crash, desync, or man, I definitely shot that guy moments, because if players are risking gear and time and the game says connection error, the emotional response is not, oh well, it's okay, we'll get them next time. It's, I'm uninstalling this shit and telling my friends this game sucks. So Bungie needs Marathon to launch in a stable way and respond aggressively to potential problems. Not later, not we're monitoring, not putting on Twitter that, hey, we are watching it, thank you for your feedback. You better fix it now. Now Bungie knows PvP, but extraction PvP has an extra layer: gear disparity. The best extraction shooters create moments where the underdog can actually outplay the stacked player. Smart decisions beat raw power, and the map design gives options instead of funneling everyone into the same kill hallway. If gear advantage becomes overwhelming, the game turns into the rich get richer and the lower end becomes target practice. And that's how your player base shrinks into a sweaty little island where everyone communicates only in callouts or disappointment. Maybe during this period of time right now I should have picked a different word than island. Oh well. Marathon has to make sure gear matters, but doesn't decide everything, because the stories that people share and what drives clips, what drives the word of mouth, it's not I had the best gun, it's I was outmatched and I still made it out alive. And that's the hook, that's the addiction. Now here's where Marathon can separate itself from a lot of competitors: world building and story delivery. Bungie has described how you'll experience story through faction factions and contracts, and they've specifically said that there are 6 factions you'll be working with, from learning their motivations and rivalries as you complete work for them. They've also confirmed that there's a codex system where completing contracts and finding narrative items, it unlocks entries that you can view outside of runs. This includes audio and text logs, graffiti, and other discoverable lore. That's massive, because one reason that people stick with Bungie games is that there's always a mystery, always a what does this mean thread to pull on, and people, they love to guess on Twitter or X. I think we call it X now. If Marathon can make its world feel alive, where every run's not just loot, but also discovery to a story, that is a retention advantage that needs to be done. And Bungie's clearly leaning into the presentation. They even announced a big English language voice cast for launch, including names like Roger Clark, Ben Starr, Jennifer English. So, if nothing else, they're going for, best audio performer and vocalist or voice actor, whatever that category is. They definitely want to win that at least. But that doesn't guarantee that the story's going to hit, but it does tell you that Bungie, it's not treating this like a silent sandbox. They want it to feel like a living sci-fi ecosystem. Now, there are several versions of the game that are coming, so let's break them down real quick. We have the standard edition that includes the game and access to all gameplay updates. Then you have the deluxe edition that includes standard content plus a premium rewards pass voucher, rewards pass tokens, and more. And then there's a collector's edition through the Bungie store that has physical collectibles. And yes, there are also pre-order rewards, including some crossover items for, you guessed it, Destiny 2, which can be linked through your Bungie.net. Bungie's basically trying to thread the monetization needle. They have the paid entry at $40, cosmetics plus the reward passes, and gameplay updates included. Now, if that balance is real and the economy feels fair, that's a strong foundation, because there's nothing more than Bungie players, specifically Destiny 2 players, they want everything that Bungie puts out. They could say, hey, here's a ship that looks like a giant turd with toilet paper emitting from it. They will buy it. Now, if it feels like it, the store's in the game, the audience will revolt. Bungie has said they'll share more info about an open preview weekend later. And that preview, it's gonna matter a lot, because Marathon is coming off of, like I've said many times in this video, rocky development narrative and public perception. We've had delays, we've had skepticism, we've had stolen art, we've had people fired and leave and everything else. But the harsh reality is that the extraction shooter audience, they won't give you the benefit of the doubt. The preview weekend is Bungie's chance to prove that the loop is fun, the game is readable, the balance isn't pure chaos, and the core systems, they're not just a spreadsheet monster. It's also their chance to show what makes Marathon feel different beyond Bungie gameplay plus extraction. So as we go back to the original question to close this video out, can Marathon succeed? Yeah, absolutely it can. And I hope that it does. Bungie has the tools, the feel, the polish, the presentation, the world building, and the ability to create a game that people don't just play, but they live in. Now, this game's probably not going to be for me. I'm in my late 30s. I just don't really enjoy the PvP, atmosphere of going into a game, and I've never really gotten into extraction shooters. However, people that do really like these types of games, I think that they will enjoy it. But the success still depends on what I call the unsexy stuff. It's having stable servers, strong anti-cheat, fair matchmaking, a balanced progression system, and a gameplay loop that doesn't punish casual players into pure extinction. Because if it does, they will leave. And Marathon's biggest threat isn't competition, it's the genre's curse. If the game feels unfair, unstable, or hostile to new players, people are not going to wait for it to improve. They'll say, see you later, and say bye to their $40. And if Bungie nails it, Marathon becomes the extraction shooter that pulls in both hardcore and curious players. It could become the one that looks stylish, plays smooth, tells stories through discovery, and creates those heart-pounding, I made it out with 1 HP moments that people chased for months. But if they don't nail it, it'll still be talked about, just as the game with the insane vibe, amazing gun feel, and a Bungie game that people quit because I got deleted by footsteps and despair. Thank you guys for checking out this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and as always, be cool to people.